The Galactic DOD had a problem. That problem was Earth, and the strange, dangerous creatures who lived on it. Humans. The aliens had watched them for years. At first, the galactic leaders thought humans were just another new species, but soon, they saw something different. Humans were fast learners. They survived deadly planets. They built strong machines, and they fought with fire in their hearts. Some aliens respected them. Some feared them. But the Galactic DOD made a choice. Humans are too dangerous. We must stop them now. They prepared a special attack fleet. 50 warships from 10 alien species. Each ship had advanced weapons. Each one had orders. Find the human colony on Kepler 89c. Destroy it. Leave nothing. The fleet jumped through hyperspace and arrived at Kepler 89c. It was a cold, gray planet. A small human colony had been built there 5 years ago. The alien ships scanned the surface. Something was wrong. There were no signals, no lights, no human life. Commander Scythe, a tall alien with blue skin and sharp teeth, frowned. "Where are the humans?" he asked. "No activity, sir," said his officer. "The buildings are here, but they look empty." The commander narrowed his eyes. "Send down a drone. I want a closer look." The drone flew over the colony. It showed strange scenes. The walls were burnt, the machines were smashed. Human homes were destroyed, but not by alien weapons. Commander Scythe felt uneasy. "Did they fight each other?" "No, sir," said the officer. "It looks like they destroyed it themselves." The command ship grew quiet. Something was wrong. This was not normal human behavior. Then it happened. Every screen on every alien ship turned black. The lights flickered. Strange code appeared for a few seconds. Then, a message showed on all screens, written in the human language. "We see you. Now." The message stayed for only 5 seconds. Then it vanished. Panic broke out. "What was that?" shouted one alien. "Who sent it? Are we under attack?" Commander Scythe tried to speak, but the systems were not responding. The fleet had lost connection to the Galactic DOD. Their weapons, shields, and scanners were frozen. Then, the ships began to disappear. 1, 2, 5. No sound, no explosion. Just gone. Each ship vanished from the fleet's radar as if pulled into the dark. Commander Scythe's eyes widened. "This is not possible." The last thing he saw before his own ship went black was the colony below. A red light was flashing near one of the destroyed buildings. A small signal beacon, sending only one word again and again. "Run." Back at the DOD headquarters, deep in the heart of the galactic core, alarms were sounding. The fleet was gone. 50 ships vanished without a trace. No video. No warning. One officer whispered, "What kind of weapon can do this?" Another replied, voice shaking, "Not a weapon, a message." The DOD leaders looked at each other. Fear filled the room. They had made a mistake. They thought humans were still learning, but humans were watching. And now, they were coming. The Galactic DOD was silent. For the first time in many years, the great alien leaders had no plan. 50 of their best warships had vanished near a human colony. No warning, no fight. Just gone, now. Fear moved like a shadow through the galaxy. Admiral Threx, leader of DOD Command, stared at the empty screen. "No signals, no survivors," he said. "This is impossible." "We think humans used a stealth weapon," said one officer. "Something we cannot see." Another added, "Or something we do not understand." But Admiral Threx shook his head. "No, this was not just technology. This was a message." He stood up slowly and pointed at the dark screen. "They wanted us to know. The humans are awake now, far away, beyond the edge of mapped space in a cold and silent sector of the galaxy. Something moved. It was not a fleet. It was one ship, large, black, deadly. Its name, Dark Star. No living person outside Earth had seen this ship before. The project was secret. even from Earth's allies. Darkstar was not built in a space station. It was built underground, deep inside a dead moon. The ship was long and sharp, like a knife. Its engines were cold and quiet. Its body was covered in strange metal, dark, heavy, and stronger than any known armor. It had no windows, no flags, no signal, and it had only one mission. Revenge. Inside the ship, everything was silent, except for a soft hum. Captain Ilara Miles sat in her command chair. She wore a black uniform with no rank or name. Her eyes were calm but hard like stone. Around her, the crew moved without speaking. Each one was trained for war. Each one had lost someone in the colony attack. They were not here for orders, they were here for payback. Target confirmed, said a voice. Alien supply station, Sector 93X. Ilara nodded. Begin silent approach, weapons ready. The ship moved like a shadow. No sound, no light, no warning. The alien supply station was a large floating base. It had food, fuel, weapons, everything the DOD fleets needed. Thousands of workers lived there. Soldiers, pilots, engineers. They never saw the ship coming. One moment, all systems were normal. The next, alarms screamed, lights flashed. Airlocks opened, fire spread, and then nothing. When the Galactic DOD tried to contact the station, there was no answer. They sent a scout ship. The scout arrived hours later. What it found was pure silence. The station was dead. Walls were blackened. Machines melted. The command room had a message burned into the wall. This was your warning. The DOD now understood. This was not an accident. This was war. Admiral Threx called an emergency meeting of all major alien races. We must act fast, he said. If humans have more ships like this, they can strike anywhere. We will lose everything. But some leaders were afraid. What if we attack again, and they hit harder? What if this ship is not the only one? Back in deep space, Darkstar disappeared into the black again. No trace, no trail. Ilara sat quietly, looking at a photo. In her hand, a small girl smiling in front of her school on Kepler 89C, her daughter. Her reason. She folded the photo, stood up, and said 3 words. Next target. Now. And the hunt continued. Darkstar kept moving. It left no light behind, no sound, no signal. The ship was like a ghost flying through the stars, striking fast, then vanishing again. The Galactic DOD tried everything to find it. They used deep space sensors, they sent patrol ships. They even hired alien bounty hunters, but no one could catch Darkstar, and no one came back alive. Each week, a new DOD base went dark. One base lost power, another exploded from the inside. One colony simply vanished. Each time, the only thing left behind was a message, short and cold, no mercy. Inside Darkstar, the crew worked like machines. They didn't laugh, they didn't rest. They followed one mission, hunt the DOD, break their power. Captain Ilara Miles stood in front of a large screen. On it, she watched a small alien planet. It looked peaceful. Green trees, blue water, and many homes. But under that surface was a secret base. A DOD command center. Are you sure the target is here? Ilara asked. Her officer nodded. Yes, Captain. This base controls all DOD. Fleets in Sector Zeta 4. Ilara took a breath. Any civilians? Less than 100. Mostly workers. No families. Ilara looked at the screen. Her eyes were cold. Good. We strike at night. That night, the planet's sky turned black. No stars. No moon. Then a sound came, low, and deep like thunder. Darkstar appeared above the clouds. Before the DOD base could raise shields, 10 missiles dropped from the sky. Each one hit perfectly. The base shook. Walls fell. Fires spread. Soldiers screamed. Inside the command center, alarms rang. This is not a drill. Where did it come from? Who is attacking? No one had answers. Then, a final message appeared on the base's main screen. "We warned you." And the base was gone. Alara watched from orbit. She closed her eyes for a moment, then turned to her crew. Next. Meanwhile, fear spread across the galaxy. Alien news channels played the same headline again and again: "The ghost ship strikes again." Some called it a myth. Others said it was an AI weapon. A few believed it was not human at all but something worse. The DOD held another emergency meeting. Admiral Threx stood before the others. He looked tired, angry. "We are losing this war," he said. "Not to an army, not to a fleet, but to one ship." He hit the table with his fist. "We need to find this dark star and end it. Now." A scientist stepped forward. She was from the Zern species, short, with 4 eyes and a sharp voice. "We found something," she said. "A signal, very faint, left behind at the last attack site." She showed a wave pattern on the screen. "It is human," she said, "but not normal. It is encrypted and old, something we haven't seen since Earth's early space days." "What does it mean?" Admiral Threx asked. The scientist looked nervous. "It means they've been planning this for years." Gasps filled the room. They knew we would come. They built Darkstar not as defense, but as revenge. Admiral Threx's voice dropped low. "Then we must show them real fear." He turned to his generals. "Activate Project Starvale. If they want war, we'll give them the end of stars." Back on Darkstar, Captain Alara felt a strange feeling in her chest. Not fear, not anger. A cold silence, like a warning. She looked into the stars. She didn't know what the DOD was planning, but she knew one thing: they were not done yet. The galaxy was changing. Once the Galactic DOD controlled everything. Their fleets flew without fear. Their orders were law. Now, they were hunted, by one ship, by humans, by Darkstar. Every few days, a new DOD base was destroyed. Supplies were cut off. Leaders vanished. The DOD was bleeding, but they had a secret, a weapon, something they had hidden for a long time. Its name was Project Starvale. Very few knew about it. Even fewer had seen it. It was not a ship, not a missile. It was something much older, much more dangerous. Deep inside a black star system, one with no planets, no light, the weapon slept. It was built long ago, during the First Galactic War. It was never used, because it could not be controlled. Now, the DOD wanted to wake. Admiral Threx stood on the command deck of a large carrier. Around him, scientists and generals worked in silence. Everyone looked nervous. "Begin the activation," Threx ordered. The lead scientist, a tall creature with glowing eyes, spoke quietly. "Sir, once we activate it, there is no turning back." "I know," Threx said, "but we have no choice." He looked at the dark screen in front of him. "They keep attacking. We have to show the humans that we are stronger, that we have no fear." The scientist pressed a button. Far away, deep in the black star system, something began to move. Old machines woke up. Energy flowed. The weapon opened like a giant eye, and it began to charge. On Darkstar, the crew was quiet. They had just destroyed another target, a DOD fuel center near the edge of the galaxy. Now they floated in space, hidden behind a dead asteroid. Captain Alara sat alone in her cabin, looking at a small metal box. She opened it. Inside was a badge, her husband's badge. He had died on Kepler 89C. She held it tight. "Are we doing the right thing?" she whispered. She knew many aliens were not part of the DOD. Some were innocent, some wanted peace, but the DOD had killed her people, had burned her home, and now they would pay. An alert beeped. She stood and walked to the bridge. "What is it?" she asked. Her officer, a tall man with a metal arm, looked serious. "Ma'am, we picked up something strange. A massive energy reading from a dead system." "Show me." Ilara said. The screen showed the black star system. Nothing there. No light, no planets. But the energy signal was clear, powerful, growing fast. Ilara narrowed her eyes. That's not a fleet. That's something else. Should we go? The officer asked. Ilara thought for a moment. Yes. Set a course, stealth mode. We need to know what they're planning. As Darkstar turned and disappeared into the dark, Ilara looked at the stars ahead. She had a bad feeling. Back at DOD command, Admiral Threx smiled for the first time in weeks. The humans have pushed too far, he said. Now they will see real power. Starvale will erase their ship from the stars. One of the younger officers looked worried. But sir, what if it doesn't work? What if it's too strong? Threx gave him a cold look. Then we all burn. But at least they burn with us. The officer said nothing more. In the dark system, the weapon kept charging. Lights flashed across its body. Energy flowed like rivers of fire. Darkstar approached, slowly. No lights, no sound. Ilara watched the weapon from a distance. What is that thing? Someone whispered. No one answered. Because no one knew. But one thing was clear. This was not just a weapon. This was the beginning of the end. The black star system was silent. No wind, no light, no sound, only darkness. And deep in that darkness, the weapon called Starvale had woken up. It was huge, bigger than any ship. Its shape was strange, like a machine mixed with a monster. Its surface moved like liquid metal, glowing, red and blue. It had no engines, no bridge, no crew, but it was alive. It did not think like a machine. It did not follow normal code. It had one command given long ago by ancient hands: destroy all threats. And now the DOD had told it who the threat was: humans. Darkstar stayed hidden behind a large rock in space, watching. Captain Ilara stood on the bridge, staring at the screen. What is that thing? One crew member asked. It's not a ship, said another. It's something worse. Ilara said nothing. She had never seen anything like it. No one had. Even the best human tech had no answer for this. The crew ran scans. Radiation was high. Energy was rising fast. Starvale was charging something. Ilara knew it wasn't just a weapon, it was a message. The DOD was saying, we will burn everything if we must. She turned to her crew. Get ready. We need to know what this thing can. Far away at DOD command, Admiral Threx watched a live feed. The screen showed Starvale growing brighter, its core glowing like a small sun. How soon until it fires? He asked. The lead scientist replied, 15 minutes, sir. It will release. A pulse wave strong enough to erase anything in 1 light year. Good, Threx said. Let the humans come. Let them see what fear really is. He did not know Darkstar was already there. Inside the stealth ship, Ilara made a choice. We get closer, she said. If that thing fires, we need to know how to stop it. The crew moved quickly. Darkstar slid through the shadows like a silent shark. They got within 10,000 kilometers. The scan showed something strange. The weapon was alive, but it was also broken. There's a weak spot, said one crew member. On the lower side, near its energy core. Ilara looked at the data. Can we hit it? Maybe, but we'd have to get closer, much closer. Ilara nodded. Then we'd do it. Suddenly, Starvale's energy spiked. A deep sound rumbled across space, not through air, but through everything. Even inside Darkstar, the crew felt it in their bones. It's starting, someone shouted. Ilara stood up. Prepare missile. Aim for the weak point. The ship turned fast. It broke stealth. Lights came on. Systems powered up. The weapon saw them. Starvale's surface shifted, turning like a giant eye. It fired a small energy beam. Just a warning. The beam hit an asteroid. The rock vanished. Not burned. Not broken, erased. Ilara knew they had seconds left. Fire, she yelled. The missile launched. Silent. Fast. straight toward the weak spot. Starvale tried to move, but it was slow. The missile hit. Boom. A flash of blue light filled the system. The crew shielded their eyes. When the light faded, the weapon was still there. Damaged, but not destroyed. But something had changed. The energy dropped. The glow faded. "It worked," said one crew member. "We stopped the charge." Ilara shook her head. "No, we slowed it down, but next time it won't wait." She looked at the screen. "We need to finish this, before it wakes again." The crew nodded. They all knew what was coming. This was no longer a secret war. It was now a race. Darkstar versus Starvale. One built by revenge, the other built by fear, and only one would survive. Captain Ilara stood on Darkstar's bridge. Alarms flashed. Lights blinked red. Sparks fell from a broken screen. The first attack on Starvale had worked, but only for a moment. The monster weapon was waking up again. "We damaged it," her officer said, "but now it's repairing itself." "How long until it's ready to fire again?" Ilara asked. "Less than 12 minutes. The crew was tired, some were hurt, but no one spoke of stopping. They all had reasons. They had lost homes, families, peace, and now they were the only ones who could stop the galaxy's end. Ilara looked at the giant weapon on the screen. "We go in," she said, "right into the core." Gasps filled the room. "Are you serious?" one of the engineers asked. "That's suicide." Ilara's voice was calm but firm. "If we don't, this thing will destroy human space, maybe more. This is our only chance." She tapped the screen. "There's a tunnel. It opens for cooling. When the energy builds, we fly through it, drop the last warhead, and escape before it closes." A silence fell over the crew. Then one by one they nodded. "Let's end this," said the pilot. Back at DOD command, Admiral Threx watched the energy build again. "Starvale is almost ready," said the scientist. "Target Earth," Threx ordered. "But, sir," the officer replied, "the humans will fight back. This may start a full galactic war." Threx stared at the screen. "It already has." He believed Starvale would make the galaxy fear the DOD again. He believed power was the only way to rule. He didn't know Darkstar was on its way. The stealth ship moved fast. It dodged heat waves and metal shards. It flew under moving plates and burning lights. The tunnel was ahead. Ilara held the command chair tightly. "Hold it steady." The pilot, hands sweating, moved the ship through the narrow path. The walls shook. The heat rose. "We're almost there," someone shouted. Then, a blast. A defense drone fired from inside the tunnel. A sharp beam cut through the side of Darkstar. "We're hit." One engine died. Fire spread in the back. Ilara yelled, "Shut it down. Reroute power." The engineer worked fast. The lights blinked, then returned. "We still have thrust." "Keep going," Ilara ordered. Inside the core, lights spun like a storm. Blue and red waves crashed together, building deadly power. Ilara opened the warhead bay. "Target locked," the weapons officer said. "Drop it." The warhead fell. It was small, but deadly. A fusion core wrapped in human nanotech. Once inside, it would eat the weapon from within. The ship turned fast, pulling away from the storm, but the tunnel started to close. "Hurry!" someone shouted. Metal walls moved like jaws. Flames followed. Behind, Darkstar pushed forward using full power. Just before the tunnel shut, the ship burst out, burned, broken, but alive. Behind them, a deep sound rumbled. Then came the light. Boom. Starvale cracked from the inside, its body twisted. The energy core exploded like a newborn star. Pieces flew across space. The giant weapon was no more. The screen turned white, then black. Silence. The crew cheered. Some cried. Some just sat in silence. They had done it. Ilara stood slowly. Her uniform was torn. Her face was tired. She looked at the photo of her daughter again. A tear rolled down her cheek. "It's over," someone said. Ilara shook her head. "No, not yet." "Why not?" the pilot asked. She looked out at the stars. "Because Now the DOD knows we won't stop. And somewhere deep in DOD space, Admiral Threx watched the signal go dark. His weapon was gone, but his anger remained, and he had one more plan left. Darkstar was broken. Its engines were damaged. Hull plates were cracked. Systems failed one by one. But it was still flying. Inside, the crew moved slowly. Many were hurt. All were tired. But no one gave up. They had done the impossible. They destroyed Starvale, a weapon built to end worlds. Now gone. But Captain Alara Miles knew the war was not over. She stood on the bridge, staring at a black screen. "No signal from DOD command," the officer said. "They're hiding," Alara replied. "But they'll strike again." Everyone was silent. Then, a message blinked on the screen. Encrypted. Old human code. Alara opened it. "We have a target. Final location of Admiral Threx. Hidden station, deep space, coordinates attached." She looked at her crew. It's time. Far. Away in a hidden station near a dead star, Admiral Threx stood inside a dark room. He watched videos of Starvale's last moments. His jaw was tight. His hands shook with anger. "We built it to scare them," he said. "Instead, we made them stronger." His generals were silent. One of them spoke. "We still have fleets. We can rebuild." Threx turned sharply. "No. They will never fear us again if we don't end this now." He walked to a panel. "This station has one final weapon. We use it on Earth." "But sir," the general said, "millions will die." Threx's eyes were cold. "That is war." But before he could press the button, boom. The room shook. Lights blinked red. "Sir!" an officer yelled. "Unknown ship just exited warp, fast and close." "Who is it?" "D Darkstar." Threx's face went pale. Darkstar dropped out of warp only 5 kilometers from the DOD station. It had no shields, no stealth, just purpose. Alara sat in the captain's chair. Her voice was steady. "This is it. We end this." The weapons officer nodded. "Missiles ready. Target locked." Alara took one last breath. Fire. 3 missiles launched. 1 hit the shield, 2 hit the station directly. The outer walls exploded. Fire spread. Alara stood up. "Send the message." The communications officer pressed the button. A clear voice echoed through every DOD channel. "This is Captain Alara Miles of Darkstar. We do not seek peace. We gave you a chance. You took our worlds. You killed our people. Now we take everything. Back, no mercy." Inside the DOD station, Threx heard her voice. His face turned red with rage. "Get me a shuttle," he shouted. But it was too late. Darkstar fired again. This time, at the core. The station's center exploded. Metal and fire flew into space. Admiral Threx, leader of DOD forces, was gone. Forever. Silence filled the bridge of Darkstar. Then cheers. Some hugged. Some cried. Alara sat back down, her hands shaking slightly. "It's over," someone said. But she looked out the window into the stars. "Not over," she whispered. "Just beginning." Weeks passed. The DOD fell apart. Without Threx, their leaders turned on each other. Planets left the Alliance. Fleets surrendered. News spread fast. The Deathworlders, the humans, had won. Not with numbers, not with power, but with one ship and no mercy. Alara stood on a green planet, breathing fresh air. Darkstar had landed for repairs. Children played nearby. Soldiers rested. People smiled. For the first time in years, peace was real. Her daughter ran to her and hugged her tight. "You stopped the bad guys, Mom." Alara smiled. "Not alone," she said. "My crew did it, together." She looked up at the sky. "Let them remember," she said quietly. "We came from a death world, but we fought for life." And high above in orbit, the name Darkstar shined on every screen. A legend, a warning, and a promise.